Bill Koenig, you and I have worked together since 2002, April 2002. You have served in the White House press corps 15, almost 16 years. What are the biggest changes? When we got together in April '02, things were calm compared to today.
Without a doubt. There was a lot of hope in 2002 because President Bush was a Christian, and there was a lot of hope that there'd be a kinder, gentler Washington, as well as the United States. He had a desire to focus on the education agenda, and he was very, very focused on very focused in the United States until he got involved, or persuaded to get involved by Mubarak and Abdullah of Jordan and Mubarak of Egypt to get involved in the Israel and the peace process. And then things began to change, and it kind of just kept building, which led to 2 wars, which led to a Barack Obama presidency, and then that pretty much speaks for itself.
Some called President George W. Bush Mr. Palestine. He wanted a Palestinian state so badly.
Well,
did he think it was going to work?
He hoped it would work. You know, his father or Bill Clinton would never have uttered the word Palestinian state. But he was concerned that the Saudi Crown Prince, Abdullah, was mad at him. He felt that he was siding with Israel. At that time, the United States was getting about 1.2 million barrels a day of oil with a weak economy. If they had started pulling oil off the market, it would have been devastating to the economy. And he got coaxed by Colin Powell's people at the State Department to give that a shot. And they finished the work on 9/10. Was going to be a comprehensive address. They're going to fulfill UN Security 242 and 338, basically giving up Judea, Samaria, and East Jerusalem. But what crossed the line was a Palestinian state. In other words, an Arab state in Judea, Samaria, and East Jerusalem. And then the next day, 9/11. As I say often, Jan, the God of Israel did not produce the evil of 9/11, but he didn't stop it. And life as we know it in our world today has changed because of that.
Yeah, and as I said, in this conference that you're speaking at here, Understanding the Times 2016, the world kind of needed, and I say this cautiously, kind of needed Barack Obama to put some things in place that perhaps no one else would have done. Now, that would probably be things for evil, of course, but from God's perspective, America out of the Middle East, or at least her prime influence of the Middle East gone, turned over to Russia, turned over to Iran. Who would have done that but Barack Obama?
Well, absolutely. 2 key things. Number one, as he's being sworn in on January 20th, 2009, his White House is putting up the LGBT agenda. At the moment he's being sworn in. It wasn't a week or a month later. It was at that moment. And it's watered down significantly now. It was much worse then. And he moved that into the civil rights area. And that's just been one of probably the most divisive things we have seen in America, maybe in history. And then the second thing is moving the United States out of a position of influence in the Middle East to the extent, and this is something Vice President Cheney said, is the enemies in the Middle East don't fear Obama and his administration, and the allies don't trust him, which is developing some interesting new levels of coordination with Israel, because they're looking to Israel to help with this horrible enemy called Iran and the Shiite Islam. So, and according to Claire Lopez and others that are very familiar with the region, and during her time with the CIA, she said it's just obvious that Obama has done everything he can to move U.S. influence out of the Middle East and kind of leaving it to the Russia and Iran and Syria and others. And
but would you ever have expected this Iranian, I don't like to use the word treaty because I don't think Iran ever even signed it.
It wasn't called a treaty because they would have needed a 2/3 vote.
Then they would have needed
a 2/3
signed.
Vote. You're right, Janet.
So but did you ever think that this would come about in your lifetime, in my lifetime? America becomes an ally of Iran.
No, absolutely. And to the extent that Obama let the Saudis, who are fearful of a nuclear Iran, know that there are now 2 major powers in the Middle East. That's the Saudis and Iran. And Iran is very forthright about their hegemony. They want to control the land from Iran all the way to the Mediterranean, including wiping out the little Satan, which is Israel. Right. So who'd have ever thought, Jim?
Who'd have ever thought?
But we know how devastating that's is being to the region, the #1 state sponsor of terror in the world, and the funds that they're going to be providing Hezbollah and Hamas and Islamic Jihad and other proxy terror groups around the world, it's just crazy. And it's not going to be a legacy, which Obama and Kerry hope for. It's going to be a travesty, and it's already proving that fact.
Exactly. I personally, in my lifetime in ministry, which is a fair number of years, I've never witnessed anything like this Iranian, can't call it a treaty, agreement, whatever you want to call it. It is like falling down into Alice's Wonderland, and I think I'm hearing from the Mad Hatter when I start reading that we have made an agreement with Iran, even though they
and you're looking at what they've done since July 14 of last year and where we are today and what has happened recently off Yemen's coast with the Houthis, who are funded by Iran. I mean, the United States ship fires missiles into Yemen just this last week. So, we're watching that area very closely. I'm watching Russia, Iran, and Turkey very closely because I think those are three of the major indicators, and also part of the Gog-Magog force of Ezekiel 38 and 39.
And we're hearing that even from some of our speakers here this weekend. Bill, and I'm cautious here as far as projecting here to campaign 2016, November 8th, when this is going to even be posted. Could be before that, could be after that. But you're in the White House press corps. As we speak, it looks like Hillary Clinton could pull this election out and win. What happens then?
I don't want to think about that.
Yeah.
Jan, it's one of those things I just don't even want to consider because it would be horrible for America, horrible for Christians.
For the world.
For the world. So I think some of us are still hopeful that God will intervene somehow or another. There's also some concern about, our administration's involvement with Russia right now.
Yes.
We're watching a lot of things. So you're right. At this point, that looks like that could happen. And, I think, Trump, he's acknowledged his mistakes. Afraid there will probably be others that come surface. But I think he is becoming repentant. Yeah. And I'm hopeful that he'll stick to the Republican platform, which is the most conservative platform in 100 years. And I think when you listen to some of the Christian leaders that are on his advisory board, they're very optimistic that Trump would be good for Christians, protecting our freedom of speech as well as Supreme Court justices. That's where we got killed. We had 34 states that said no to gay marriage, but Obama and his administration used the court system all the way up to the Supreme Court to get his way. So that is what a lot of people are focused on, is the future of the Supreme Court, which has had a horrible history for Christians.
Folks, you can learn a lot more about Bill Koenig. He's one of my speakers, Understanding the Times 2016. Go to watch.org on the web, watch.org on the web. Get his e-newsletter as well. You've got a relatively new book. We have sold bundles of them at Olive Tree Ministries. Give it a 2-minute commercial.
The book is Revealed Obama's Legacy, and the purpose of the book was to share 7 key areas of things that have taken place in the last 7.5 years that would affect our country, affect us as Christians. And it's just telling it like it is. It's, using his words, using his speeches, using things he's done. So it's not making anything up. I mean, this is what he has done for 7.5 years, and most believers know the gospel and the words of the scriptures well enough to be able to say, this is wrong, this is an affront, over and over again. So that's the purpose of the book, is to inform people and also give people something to pray about.
Well, it has connected, at least with our people. We just keep ordering it. Of course, I read it from cover to cover because I talked to you about it on air. So, thank you for doing it. And there's some dark things that are revealed, but somebody had to say it.
They had to, because 85 to 90% of the media, Jan, as you know, we talk about frequently, are totally in the tank of Obama, Hillary Clinton, and the Democratic Party. So this had to be out. This had to, National Christian Leader says, I'm so thankful it was written because it had to be written. And thank you for the exposure the book's received, and the follow-up has been great, and the response has been great. So thank you, Jan.
Okay.